Good afternoon. My name is Edward Talerico. I'm the Industry Director for Aerospace and Defense, and I wanted to present today on Infor's growing aerospace and defense practice for various partners and other alliance members that are interested in what Infor is doing in aerospace and defense and how we're approaching the market and how we encourage you to join us. I have been working at Infor since 1996. I joined the bond company from Lockheed Martin. Prior to joining Infor, when we marketed the bond aerospace and defense solutions, I worked at Lockheed Martin implementing MRP2 systems and evaluating ERP2 systems for selection to be implemented at Lockheed. Since joining Infor, I've worked in the solutions management, R&D organizations, and in the industry management area for aerospace and defense based on my previous experiences at Lockheed to provide solutions for our aerospace and defense companies to meet the stringent aerospace and defense requirements that are unique to the industry within the broader market or map of solutions that we offer to the industry. Okay. I just wanted to go over a few things. Some people typically ask whenever we have a session like this is they ask, like, who is Infor or what is Infor doing? Infor is currently a $2.8 billion software company and growing. Okay, we've had 5 straight quarters of double-digit license growth. Infor acquired many of the companies that you probably heard of before in the enterprise solutions market, like SSA, and Mapix, BPix, and a number of other solutions like Sightline and Visual to form what today is Infor Global Solutions or Infor, and we are continuing to grow. We have 1,500 partners, and we have more signing up every day. We had 140 new partners in the past year. We've had 2,300 new customers in the past year, so we're not just a maintenance company. We're a company that continues to increase our customer base and sell new solutions into the enterprise software services and services marketplace. We are the 3rd largest applications company in the world. We have 9,000 engineers and technical consultants around the world and a total of 13,000 employees, and we're continuing to hire not only in other parts of the organization, but specifically in our R&D organization with engineers, designers, and people that can help us increase the use of new technology and development of our solutions. The investment, we've hired 1,700 new employees in the past year. 600 of them were engineers, and we've delivered almost 5,300 new product features in the broad array of solutions that we offer in the marketplace. This graphic shows you the Infor company where we are today. Around the end of 2010 in December, we hired a completely new management team headed up by Mr. Phillips, our CEO, Charles Phillips. From that period, they did an assessment of the solutions that Infor had within its ownership, developed a new strategy, not only for R&D, but how we'll go to market. We've had some very significant events like the partnership with Salesforce.com, the acquisition of former Lawson Company, and the introduction of Infor 10 Industry Solutions. Our company continues to grow both in revenue, number of employees, number of customers, and just about any area you can consider in the enterprise software space. We're very proud of where we are right now, and one of the largest changes in the strategy of Infor with the new management team was our go-to-market strategy, which became specialized by industry. Infor focuses on the 12 industries that you see in this graphic, aerospace and defense being one of them, automotive, pharmaceuticals, industrial distributors, manufacturers, etc. All of these industries are broken down into sub-industries or micro-verticals, if you will, that we use to be able to go to market in a fashion where we create a solution that meets the the most stringent industry requirements for those industries, and today we'll be talking about aerospace and defense, how we're going to market there, and inviting you to join us in that endeavor. As I said, my name is Ed Talerico. Currently, I'm the Industry Director for Aerospace and Defense, and that's after being here with Infor since 1996 for over 16 years now. What I want to go through for aerospace and defense is, first of all, I want to talk about our credentials in the aerospace and defense environment. We have a large number of aerospace and defense customers, as I'm sure you're aware. We calculate the pay rules for more than 560 million airline passengers per year. Planes built using Infor move nearly 4 billion passengers a year. 19 of the top 20 aerospace companies use Infor software. Infor has more than 800 aerospace and defense customers in over 20 countries. We have over 20 years of experience in aerospace and defense, and the largest ERP implementation in the world at Boeing since 1995 with more than 15,000 concurrent users was done by Infor. Okay. If you look at some of the household names that you're probably familiar with in these various micro verticals, as aerospace contractors, I'm sure that everybody's familiar with the Boeing company. The Commercial Aircraft Group uses our ERP solution to manufacture, assemble, and deliver aircraft. We have Zodiac Aerospace, GKN, Esterline, which uses a number of our solutions at various sites around the world, Honeywell, BAE Systems, Elbit Systems, Kongsberg Defense, RollsRoyce are all companies in the defense space that also utilize Infor. We also have a large number of customers that utilize our solutions for maintenance, repair, and overhaul as opposed to using them for original equipment manufacturing. And you can see some of those companies here like CAD and the Triumph Group. This is one of our customer skills incorporated. You can see the impact that we've had on skills by with the implementation of our solutions. We've helped them increase their build-to-stock customer orders by 510%. Without Infor, they don't believe that they would be able to meet this increasing demand with all the necessary parts in their complex bill of materials. We find this consistently that aerospace and defense customers utilizing Infor are able to address their industry needs and increase their operational velocity through the use of our solutions. CAV Aerospace. The use of Infor solutions has allowed them to get instantaneous data. They can download it into a chart and be able to immediately discuss KPIs or key performance indicators, which is something they never had before. So the use of Infor solutions has allowed them access and visibility into areas for decision-making that weren't readily available prior to the implementation of our solutions. Zodiac Aerospace is a company that utilizes Infor, and they utilize a number of our ERP solutions, actually, M3, LN, and I believe they actually have one of our I-Series products as well. But the thing about Zodiac is that they have a number of disparate organizations around the world where they need to consolidate that information and bring it together as one corporation. But each one of those individual facilities likes to operate as an independent small company. And regardless of their size, utilizing our solutions allows them to treat each one of those integrated business units as a small company in itself. At the same time, we can bring together all of the information for decision-making purposes and corporate consolidation. So those are just a few of the customers. We'll talk about a few more near the end of my presentation here today. But let's talk about what's going on within aerospace and defense today, and what are the drivers for people to look towards us Infor for solutions to help them grow their business. Obviously, probably the largest thing that people are seeing right now, especially here in North America, is a reduction in defense spending. I don't think that I turned on the news in January or late December when they talked about the physical cliff here in the U.S. and immediately started to talk about that impact upon the U.S. defense budget. Okay, the defense budget in the U.S. will continue to decrease over the next 5 years at least, and probably even longer than that. It's unknown how much the defense budget will actually decrease over the next year, as they continue to analyze the U.S. spending. And the product value that comes from the complex supply chain is very deep. So the cuts at the top level for original equipment manufacturers or people that deal directly with the DoD will have a huge impact on its supply base, and it's difficult to even think about how much of an impact that could have upon employment and the ability of those companies to maintain the workforce that they currently have in place. And at the same time, all of these companies are being asked to increase their operating margin. Okay. At the same time, the increase for demand for smaller passenger aircraft in China continues to increase. I would say that commercial aircraft demand continues to increase around the world. While defense budgets are decreasing, commercial aircraft contracts or commercial aircraft demands are increasing around the world. And we'll talk about it a little bit as we go on here. There's a significant difference in the way that commercial aircraft companies can deliver to their customers as opposed to being a traditional defense contractor. Okay, that $660 billion backlog for small body airplanes is another example. We have a customer, Piper Aircraft, that's become more aggressive in the small body aircraft market that recently signed up to use Infor ERPLN simply because they have to increase their delivery of demand to their customers. It's a result of this need for commercial aircraft. Okay, and at the same time, even though there's this increase in demand, there's continuous price pressure to reduce the product cost to be competitive in that commercial aircraft market. Okay. In aerospace and defense companies, we are faced with an aging workforce, especially here in the U.S. It's no secret that the baby boomers are reaching retirement age, have started to reach retirement age, and that group of individuals represents a very large portion of the population of employees in the aerospace and defense industry that are working in all these suppliers and equipment manufacturers. That creates a huge drain on the intellectual property as these people start to retire and move out of the workforce because their roles in the organization, the functions that they perform are not necessarily well documented, and that creates a challenge in the systems that are currently in use and how they will continue to operate going forward. And at the same time, we have to introduce a number of new technologies, not only into the products that they deliver, but aerospace and defense companies have to learn how to introduce new technologies to operate their business. And while they're doing this, there is the continuing pressure to reduce the lead time to deliver. If you were to order commercial aircraft from a number of aircraft companies that I work with today, your expected wait time is probably anywhere from 13 to 22 months. And quite honestly, that's not satisfactory. People that want a commercial jet, as odd as it may seem, want it faster. They want to be able to order a small commercial jet and have it delivered to them in 1 or 2 months. So there's that continuous pressure, even though they're introducing new technologies and that they have highly complex supply chains and products, that they want to be able to reduce the overall lead time to deliver to their customers. And right now, the average innovation lead time to introduce new technologies takes like 10 years. And that just simply isn't sufficient anymore, that the customers are demanding more. I believe that all of us are aware that the price of gas. No one is more aware of it than the airlines and their use of fuel to transport people around the world. So fuel efficiencies are driving the use of new technology to modernize or replace the fleet of planes that they currently have in place. New seating configurations are being installed to maximize the amount of space within a plane. I'm sure we've all experienced that. And everybody wants to start to take advantage of new audio-visual equipment and technologies while they're traveling today. So the use of wireless internet on board an aircraft is just an example of where we want those comforts and the capability to utilize this new technology while we're traveling. And because of all these things, not only is the demand for small body aircraft and commercial aircraft increasing, but the maintenance and refurbishment business and demand increases. And that's an entirely different typology for these businesses to take articles of defense or commercial aviation products and refurbish them or maintain them and re-equip them or modernize them, as opposed to building from scratch. And for those companies that are typically defense companies, this is a very, very different model. And with the reduction in defense spending, there's going to be an increased amount of MRO business out there to be able to continue or increase the life cycle of existing defense articles while they're in the field. Okay, so the challenges of aerospace and defense companies, we just discussed a bunch of them. There's pressures on both the top and the bottom line to reduce lead time. Fixed price contracts are now in place. The reduction of defense spending and the internationalization of the A&D market. Defense contractors, especially domestically here in the U.S., were expected only to use their intellectual property to deal with only the U.S. defense if that's the market they want to be in. They're changing that today. Because of the reduction in defense spending and the need to maintain employment levels here in the U.S., they're allowing companies that used to solely deal in defense manufacturing to be able to look abroad, say for satellite manufacturers or electronic manufacturers, to provide their services and their products to companies overseas, if that will help increase employment rates here in the U.S. The technology in use at aerospace and defense companies, quite honestly, they'd be considered laggards. They have fragmented information technology organizations. They do not adopt new technology readily. The new workforce that's replacing the aging workforce demands the use of this technology. We find when we talk to aerospace and defense companies today that their new workforce expects the same user experience with computer systems that they have grown up with the internet throughout college and now into their young careers. They expect to have the same ability to collaborate and to be able to work with others that they utilize with things like Facebook. And they expect this technology to be available for them at work in doing their jobs. The supply chain, is complex and as deep as it is within aerospace and defense, has to have greater visibility so that we can reduce lead times and not have unexpected changes to deliveries. Okay, the complex configurations make this extremely difficult. When I talk to the guys at Boeing, they say they've never made two planes that are exactly the same, and that creates more complexity into the supply chain and the need for more visibility. And the visibility of the supply chain now has to reach outside of our borders. People are dealing internationally to be able to satisfy the needs of their supply chain. The Boeing 787 program collects assemblies from all over the world to bring them together. It's a different concept from traditional procurement concepts. And the flow down of contract quality clauses, etc., now has to be exposed throughout the supply chain with visibility up the supply chain for the suppliers as well as down the supply chain for the customers that are expecting delivery of demand. The aerospace and defense industry as a whole probably has more compliance issues than any other industry except for pharmaceuticals. Within the aerospace and defense industry, you'll hear about like the ITAR, the International Trade and Arms Regulations, the Defense Contract Audit Agency, Material Management Accounting Standards, Wide Area Workflow, import, export controls, earned value management systems, defense federal acquisition regulations, and performance-based logistics. These are all oversight or terms for different oversight clauses when you receive a contract as an aerospace and defense supplier that you have to adhere to participate in the supply chain. Either it's driven by the United States Department of Defense or as an oversight organization to be able to control what's being done, say, in air traffic, like the Federal Aviation Administration. For years, I've heard about the reduction of this oversight, and I've only seen it increase. Where we used to deal with DoD control with MRP systems, now we've added the ITAR, or the ability to share intellectual property overseas. We used to deal with cost control, spec criteria just for large contracts, and now almost all contractors are utilizing some sort of earned value management system, which is very similar to what you go through when you build a house. The bank will only allow you to utilize the money of your mortgage as you reach certain milestones in the building schedule, and that's the same concepts that are used with earned value management systems. They've also changed the way that they want to deal with contractors and move to what they refer to as performance-based logistics, where they pay incentives or they set up the contract milestones based upon the performance of the items delivered, as opposed for just paying for the delivery of the hardware. So those are all oversight compliance terms that continue to be used within this industry, and only an increase. So they are increasing the needs of the solutions that we deliver to this industry, and Infor is taking those on and looking on how we can address those. Here's from IDC, one of my closest analysts in the A&D world. You can see that aerospace and defense, the outlook around the world or in Western Europe, is actually quite good. When you look at the reduction of defense spending, it's offset by what's happening in commercial aircraft, demand increasing, and most aerospace and defense contractors are fairly positive on the upcoming, on the movement of the market, probably only less than consumer high-tech electronics. And that's good news, because all of those companies that have that outlook usually are looking to invest in their IT infrastructure in some way. And I don't think this picture is that different here in the U.S. Even though we're facing defense spending cuts, they feel positive in the overall outlook of maintaining what they have and the commercial increase, or the increase in commercial aerospace demand, and that can only help us in our marketing to these aerospace and defense companies, and our ability to supply solutions that can help them improve the operational velocity of their organization. One of the things we're doing with our customers is that we're out there looking at the leaders in the industry and looking at those that are not the leaders, and then comparing that to where they stand. And this gives us the opportunity to go out and find areas where we can get a very rapid return on investment in the use of our solutions, those areas which would have the highest impact on their organization, and then using our value engineering organization to assess where they are, how we can improve that to pay for investments in our company. And as companies that would be working with Infor, we would welcome the opportunity for you to understand and join with us with prospects and customers to do this type of value engineering and get the discussion around business operational growth and where we can help them with statistics like these. Then using or implementing our solutions actually becomes a very easy discussion. Okay? A&D contractors must adopt commercial practices by implementing new technology and managing commercial defense and maintenance contracts with streamlined processes that can be done within a singular system with a common business process. Okay, that's what's going to make A&D contractors successful moving forward. They have to continue to adhere to oversight regulation, like all the items we just discussed for the ITAR, DCAA regulations, as well as performance-based logistics and material management accounting standards. But while those enforced regulations will continue to increase, defense compliance will not be removed, and you have to learn how to operate within this hybrid environment. So adhering to the regulations is necessary, but being able to work in the commercial market at the same time becomes a must if your business is to survive. And probably the largest thing that all aerospace and defense contractors speak to me about is how can we take cost out of the supply chain? How can we increase or improve our supplier performance, grow our business, and not be able to, double our organization in procurement? And this is the area, quite honestly, where Infor has been more successful than any other ERP company in the aerospace and defense industry. In the actual supply chain management for manufacturers and contractors, we have been more successful than any other ERP company in the world. Boeing is just one example of some of the others that I'll talk to you about. We don't go in and try to implement just our financial solutions. We like to start with the hard stuff, supply chain management and manufacturing as an example. To be able to really get to the areas that will improve the bottom line of their business. And Infor has been very successful in implementing into those functional areas. Okay? Now let's look at the footprint that we offer to be able to provide what I just told you about. Okay? Infor offers a complete solution from order management to maintenance, repair, and overhaul. All of our modules and all of the capabilities of our solution have been analyzed for their applicability in the aerospace and defense industry, and where gaps were found, capabilities were created and added to be able to support the business processes necessary for an aerospace or defense contractor. Okay, for instance, in the order management process, we had to add a completely new module for contracts and contract line items called CLINs to be able to support their order entry and to capture all the terms and conditions of an agreement with their customers. In product lifecycle management, we needed to be able to support the as-designed, the as-built, as well as the as-maintained bills of material and incorporate unit serial effectivity control. Procurement had to be able to deal with the flow down of terms and conditions from the contract into the procurement area. We had to be able to source to multiple areas and provide vendor rating to be able to satisfy the needs for defense contractors. DPAS, or the flow down of the Defense Priority Allocation System, was another area that we had to add so that it was available in procurement. In supply chain management, all of the things for aerospace and defense that were required needed to be available in the same MRP system that would be used for commercial activities or high-tech electronics, because many of these companies have a hybrid environment where they do all of those today. They have to be able to use project management techniques for their defense contracts while using traditional order entry and material requirements planning needs for, say, a high-tech electronics contract where they may be supplying items to a non-defense contractor. The billing or progress billing capabilities, as well as the ability to calculate overheads and provide those to the DoD DFAR, the Defense Federal Acquisition Regulation, had to be added to our solutions. In manufacturing, we added a number of activities or capabilities for subcontracting, as well as for labor collection to support aerospace and defense contractors, and analytics, dashboards, reporting, and business intelligence capabilities have industry-specific content so that it's meaningful to an A&D contractor. We needed to be able to provide capabilities like borrow payback in materials management, as well as cost transfer logic. In the financials, we've had to add significant capabilities for cost pegging and invoicing, as well as the contracts module. The barcoding data collection capabilities had to be able to record all this data, and for aftermarket MRO capabilities, there was a lot of work to be able to handle items like rotables or a number of industry-specific items. So you can see that we have created a solution within the capabilities that we had from already very successful solutions in the marketplace for aerospace and defense contractors, so they could utilize one business process to operate all of their various business units. And the glue that brings it all together is ION, the Infor Open Network. It is the glue that allows us to integrate or be able to provide the infrastructure for workflow alerts and integration with other solutions that the contractor or customer may have in place, as well as the ability for us to create business-specific alerting and workflow capabilities for business process management. You can see here that this is a diagram showing you the A&D value chain of the three different areas, from contract award through production and then to MRO, or maintenance, repair, and overhaul, and the value chain and all the various disciplines that we support. All the way from bid and proposal to aftermarket services, including production, development, design, engineering, and shipping of the product, and procurement to satisfy all of those needs, and the utilization of project management. The aerospace and defense value chain, as I said earlier, supply chain, is extremely deep. It's very complex, and we support all of the functions from initial contract estimating through its award, and then the maintenance contracts or CLINs that follow on after producing and delivering items to aerospace and defense contractors. Okay, what makes our solution unique when you compare it to other people in the marketplace? Well, from a speed and agility perspective, Infor has taken great care to ensure that all of the same planning capabilities for manufacturers are in place, with the ability to do project planning and commingling, so that you don't have to build inventories for a specific project or contract. There are non-conforming material management capabilities that have been added to the solution, with first article inspection, as well as project cost monitoring utilizing our in-context business analytics. Specific functionality that aerospace and defense contractors demand, like I said, serial control traceability, to be able to trace a serial number from its inception to where it's used, or to look at an item delivered and all of the serial numbers within it. The ability to control bills of material in a configuration control with a unit or tail number. Contract and CLIN management for hybrid contracts, whether they're firm fixed price, cost plus, or time and materials. Contract invoicing with progress billing, overhead cost allocation and application based upon DoD requirements, where we can calculate an overhead and then go back and retroactively adjust that overhead. And then we can do it all in the same solution that we utilize with project management capabilities for project scheduling and earned value management systems reporting. Okay, our industry experience. Infor has a long history of working with aerospace and defense customers. There's been a few customers recently that have collaborated with our research and development organization to develop and deliver the next generation ERP, or I'll say enterprise solution for aerospace and defense, and one of them is BAE Systems. They're a very large $2.6 billion company. They have over 12,000 employees. They manufacture, integrate high-performance defense electronics. They do all types of business, from original manufacturing to maintenance, repair, and overhaul. They are utilizing Infor ERPLN with our performance management tools. They were faced with a challenge that they needed to reduce the cost of delivering their products And they had to do this in a shrinking defense market. They previously had multiple ERP systems in place, and the integration of those solutions and the integration of their businesses that they had acquired was not going well. So they needed a means to do that effectively. With the implementation of ERPLN, they have increased the traceability of $2 million program inventory and 50% reduction in excess inventory. They have significantly reduced the cost of the customizations in their IT environment, and they've been able to do an entire upgrade in the technology that they're utilizing now to run their businesses. Albit works with our R&D company to not only review but to test and to test our solutions prior to delivery in a combination of our labs and their implementations, so that we have that constant collaboration to make sure we understand the industry requirements and what they need from an ERP solution. RollsRoyce Marine Division has been working with Infor for a long time. They utilize a large number of our solutions, not only ERPLN, but Supply Chain Planner, Supply Web, Event Management. They needed to be able to address rapid growth in their business. They had no consistent or formal sales and operations planning process, and the combination of our ERP solution with Infor Planner allows them to do that now and gives them a complete view of the supply chain. Zodiac Aerospace that I spoke about before, they have 6 divisions utilizing Infor solutions. It's a complex business. They utilize a number of our different ERP solutions. They take all that information and they can consolidate it seamlessly across international boundaries. They have much different products. They have different supply chains that manufacture or deliver. Their sales increased by 25% this year, and it allows those businesses to operate like a small business, at the same time consolidating it all into one seamless corporation for financial analysis. As well as these 3 companies, we have a number of other aerospace and defense companies that we work with, like BAE Systems. I mentioned Piper Aircraft that recently signed with us, and there's a host of others that are looking to move to ERPLN very soon. We just kicked off a project with a division of Alcoa called Huck Fasteners that was operating on a version of an ERP system on an HP 3000 where the hardware is going to be outdated very soon and will no longer be supported. So we had to do a fast implementation there. We have a number of companies where we've done rapid implementations of less than 1 year for an aerospace and defense company, which is typically unheard of. Okay, and we've done a number of those. We have a solution that doesn't need to be implemented over multiple years by module, but rather can be looked at to be done as a project so that you can move on and optimize its need. And Infor is offering new technologies to be able to take advantage of what's available today in the marketplace. The ability to utilize mobile applications in motion, to be able to download information to mobile applications utilizing our ION intelligent Infor's open intelligent network, cloud-based ERP solutions or solutions that can operate from a cloud so you don't have to be the hardware supplier. And we also offer a complete data warehousing tool for analytics, reporting, search, and in-context BI utilizing our business vault if people are interested. So the glue and the ability to integrate our solutions is open, and we invite you to look at that as a means to change the technology that you utilize in your business. Okay. Industry-specific analytics is a large part of this. We're developing reporting capabilities that are unique to the industry so that you don't have to do that during the implementation. And the ability to use the ION activity deck in combination with mobile applications so that you can receive alerts, work workflows, be able to view customer or order financial data via iOS designed devices and metrics that are embedded for rapid response are all areas where we are integrating to and supporting today with our solutions. Okay. So with that being said, that was an introduction of Infor for Aerospace and Defense, what we're doing with customers today, and how we hope that we can get you to join us in our efforts to attract more aerospace and defense customers or work with the ones that we have. At this time, I'd like to open the line for any questions or comments.
At this time, I'd like to remind everyone, in order to ask a question, please press star then the number 1 on your telephone keypad. We'll pause for just a moment to compile the Q&A roster. Once again, if you'd like to ask a question, please press star then the number 1 on your telephone keypad. Your first question comes from the line of Kit Sackett. Your line is open.
Hi, Edward. My name's Kit Sackett. I work for Cyber, who is a partner of Infor. We have what are essentially S3 and M3 practices. Those are the legacy Lawson products.
Yeah.
And there are several M3 customers that fall into the aerospace and defense industry. Mm-hmm. And I'm kind of intimate with one. One is named Kelowna Flightcraft. And we sold them probably 2 or 3 years ago when I was still with Lawson. And they are experiencing problems with the length of the part number fields and the text fields. I know this is pretty granular, but are you aware of that? And if you're not, do you have somebody within your group that deals with M3 customers that are in this industry?
Well, if it's an aerospace and defense company, I can help. If you would like to forward to my email address the problem and the client that you're dealing with, and I'll speak to R&D and see what we can do to assist them.
Okay.
Okay.
Once again, if you'd like to ask a question, please press star and the number 1 on your telephone keypad, and we'll pause again. We appear to have no further questions at this time. I'll turn the call back over to the presenters.
Well, if there are no more questions today, I'd like to thank you all for attending. Once again, if there's anything that you need, you can always contact us at inforalliances@infor.com if you're interested in extending your partnership or looking to form a new one with Infor. And I am Edward.Talerico@infor.com. You're welcome to contact me, and I will help you get to Chris or whoever you need within the organization. Thank you very much.